Exercise number 3 is an upper back mobilization. And for this one, you'll need your spinal strip and fold it the length of your hand from wrist to fingertips, plus 1 or 2 inches. Where the double fold starts is going to go at your C7 vertebra. So you want the C7 to be firmly ensconced on this double layer. And so to find C7, slide your fingertips down the back of your neck and look for the vertebra that sticks out a little more than the other ones. That's where your C7 is, and that's what's going to be placed on the beginning of the double layer. To get there, place the spinal strip behind your head. Don't worry too much about being in the exact spot of your C7 at this point, because you're going to lie back, then lift up, and settle yourself onto the spinal strip. Check that the long edges of the spinal strip are matched up, and once again, look for your C7 vertebra at the back of your neck, and shimmy yourself either up or down until you feel like it's going to be really well supported by the double layer of your spinal strip. Once you're in that position, you can start by either placing your hands on your low ribs to help you set up. And one thing I like to do is place my palms on my forehead, side by side, with the heels of the hands lined up with my eyebrows and my fingers wrapping around my skull. With my elbows pointing up towards the ceiling, I use my hands to lengthen the base of my skull away from my shoulders, giving me a little bit more space along the back of my neck. And I usually like to stay here for several breaths, exhaling to let my arm bone feel like it's dropping back into my shoulder joint, and the shoulder blade dropping down towards the floor as I start to get a little bit more release between the shoulder blades. So each time I exhale, I'm imagining that my arm bones are getting heavier and my shoulder blades are dropping down a little bit more. And after a few moments, when I've had a sense of release happen in my body, I bring my hands back to the ribs and making sure that my feet are in a good position to support the weight of my body. I create a little tone in the core, so the pelvic floor muscles and the lower part of the transversus abdominal muscles are engaged. So in yoga, this is the Mula Bandha. And pressing down evenly through my feet, making sure the inner edges of my feet are rooted. I'm going to inhale and lift my hips up so that I'm transferring the weight of my body towards this C7 vertebra. And I'm just checking that it's still on the double layer here so that it's receiving a little bit of pressure from the spinal strip. And as I come up, I'm directing my weight all the way from my feet, up through my legs, into the spinal strip. And then imagining that I can come down one vertebra at a time. I'm going to take one breath for each vertebra, which will be about 7 breaths in total, and come down little by little with each exhalation. And the first time I do this, the whole upper back just feels like one big chunk that's moving as a unit. And so I have to visualize that I'm actually doing this one vertebra at a time. Once I've come down and I can feel the pressure going into the base of the spinal strip, which is pretty much at the base of my breastbone, then I lower my pelvis down. And then repeat again. Breathing down through the feet, engaging Mula Bandha, inhaling to lift up. And if you wish, you can also take your time going up, coming up vertebra by vertebra. And then coming down vertebra by vertebra. I usually do this one 2 or 3 times, and you can do it more or less depending on the time you have available and the feedback you're getting from the stretch. after completing as many rounds of the lifting and lowering as you like. Pause for a few moments. And when you're ready to leave, roll off to the side, take the spinal strip out, and roll onto your back once again, feeling into where the spinal strip was. And just noticing the sensations that arise.